Yeah, I think we can get things going because hopefully we're not going to go on for too long. But since it's a session that we're going to have a few different sections here, I'm sure whoever's going to join will be able to catch up quickly. So yeah, so just to let you know a little bit about what we're doing today in the first contributor office hours, we'll start off by just introducing ourselves. This can be much more informal than the community calls or the AMAs or anything like that. So we'll just do like a little round of introductions, and yeah, we'll just like we'd just ask you to tell us your name, your location. Are you a new contributor or are you a seasoned contributor? And maybe if you want to tell us your most memorable experience as a developer, maybe like if you've ever broken something in production or something that pops to mind, just so we all know who we're dealing with. And then after that, Mohammed will tell us a little bit about the history of the project and where we're going. And then after that, we'll talk about what are the different paths that we kind of envision for both new contributors, a little bit more seasoned contributors, and then potentially kind of maintainers, and what kind of routes we envision could be possible. Ali is also here, which is our one of our in-house designers. She's going to show us some of the feature proposals that we have that could potentially be worked on. So hopefully we'll have something for everybody. And yeah, and then at the end we'll just have a Q&A. But if you have any questions before that, don't feel that you have to wait until the end. So yeah. So let's just keep it informal. If you have something that you want to say, just unmute and say it, and we'll be and we'll just keep the conversation flowing like that. So okay, in terms of intros, I'll go first. I'm Jake. I'm the community developer, as most of you already know, here at Tailwarden. Initially, I was actually a DevOps engineer before I took on this role. So yeah, I think I would consider myself maybe like a jack of all trades and a master of none, because like I kind of like dabble in Go. I worked as a DevOps engineer for a couple of years, but yeah, I wouldn't say that I'm super expert at anything in particular. And yeah, so that's kind of what I try to do here, at least in Tailwarden. What I try to do is kind of like bridge the gap between the community, try to enable contributors to be to feel like they're working on cool and interesting and challenging things. And to be honest, the most part of my job is learning how to do it better, so how to um, make the community be kind of like more of a useful kind of environment for everyone. So thanks a million for joining me on my journey of becoming a better community developer. But that's it for me. Ali, would you like to go next?
Yes, of course. So hi everyone, I'm Ali. I'm one of the product designers here at Tilwarden. I've joined almost a year ago now, and I'm based in Portugal. My main skills range from mostly user experience and user interface design, branding design as well, and to front-end web development even. So I'm very happy to work with you all and to see where we can take Komiser into Warden.
Cool. So what we can do is, Ali, you propose the next person, and then after that, the next person proposes someone else.
Okay, okay. Cool. So maybe Avinash, you can go next.
Yep, I can. I hope you all can hear me. So, hi folks, this is Amish Tripathi. I am based at in India. There's a city called Ahmedabad, and I'm student currently in my final year. I can say yeah, I'm in my final year. Exams are still there, but yeah. Uh, Apart from that, I've been an open source contributor for quite a while now. That's where I've learned everything, and I usually tell this that I've learned very much from open source and not from my college. No hate to them, but yeah, that's a thing. And I really love dev, be it in any domain. You can dev is just fun. So Shubham, maybe Lal Chetan, I don't know. Yeah, so sorry.
Yep, both works for me. So, hi everyone, I am Shubham. I am also a student, I am a final year student. I reside in Bangalore, India, and my parents live in the same city as Avinesh, that is Ahmedabad. And apart from that, I do tech, and lately I have been diving into user experience to learn about the user psychology. But yeah, apart from the tech part, I'm really into sports, name a sport, and I have a following in that. That is pretty much it. Yep. Next, I think Mohammed can go next.
Awesome. Nice to meet you guys. I'm Mohamed. I'm the CTO and co-founder of Tailwarden. I'm based in France. I've been doing software engineering before switching to DevOps. Now I'm trying to make the cloud transparent again, thanks to you guys. Beside that, I'm also an open source contributor. I've been contributing to different projects like Jenkins, Kubernetes, SugarGraph, and others. And also, I'm a big fan of cooking. So if you wanna some recipes or something, just DM me and can send you some good recipes. And I'm gonna nominate Anu.
Hi everyone. I hope you can hear me. So I'm joining from India, from a city called Varanasi. It's in northern parts of India, and I've been a front-end developer up till now, a self-taught one because my educational background has been in civil engineering. But after that, because of the COVID lockdown and everything else, I had to, not focus on that because of the site, because civil engineering involves most of the site work. So yeah, so I joined this tech domain, and I started with JavaScript coding, especially front end part. And since then, I have explored different domains in this because I'm that kind of a person. I like knowing everything a little bit. So I really liked Go and Golang, and especially the cloud native stuff which is happening right now. I mean, lots of new. I got to learn about lots of new developments happening, like containers and Kubernetes, how they are changing the whole space. I mean, they have already changed. I'm late to the party. So yeah, so I'm learning Go, and I think open source is a very big opportunity for people like, especially for people like me, because with no formal educational background, we still get to learn on real world projects in presence of world class developers and engineers. So that's a win-win situation. I would like to nominate who's next? Cyril.
Yeah, maybe since Cyril just joined it, just to give him a heads up. So basically, Cyril like wanna do an intro of each other. So maybe you can do the same. Quick intro of yourself, where you are located, and what do you like to do for fun.
Uh, so, hello.
Oh, oh,
He's on mute.
you
Okay,
can't
let me
unmute. Okay, just one sec.
Yeah.
Hey
How about now?
everyone, yeah,
Yes.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm on my phone, so I won't enable the cam. So I'm Cyril, I'm one of the co-founder of Telwarden and Komiser. I'm from Lyon in France, but I live now in Paris, unfortunately. What I do for fun, I love to play football, squash. Um, that's basically it. And I'm not 100% involved in the development of Komiser, unfortunately, because the last time I tried, I shared the credentials on GitHub. Since then, Mohamed doesn't want me to work on the project, unfortunately. But I'm here to help you on the more on the product or on the client side.
Yeah, since that day, Cyril is now required to have 4 approvers on any of his PRs. No, just joking. But anyway, Kola, I think we are missing your intro. Kola, are you there, or are you also having issues unmuting? If not, you can just add your intro in the chat. Okay, let's see if I can unmute you. No, it doesn't look like I can unmute.
Yeah, I just got it.
Nice.
Can you hear me?
We can, yeah.
All right. Yeah, good morning. I'm Philip Kolawole, Kola for short. I'm based out of Lagos, Nigeria. I'm a full stack engineer and I'm software architect. I've been working in the industry for about 6 years now, doing majorly Node.js, Cement Stack, AWS Cloud, and Golang. So for me, it's kind of interesting to be able to contribute to something open source and just see the way the code base changes the way the cloud terrain is and helps optimize most organizations' workflow generally. Yeah, so it's been an interesting point of view for me. Yeah, for fun, I like to do music, play some violin, and probably just travel most likely. All right.
Perfect. Very cool. Thanks a million. So if you want, what we can do is, Mohammed, I can give the screen back over to you, and you can give us a bit of a backstory on how Komiser started and where we're heading.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Jake. Thanks, everyone. So like the project started from a first-hand problem back then. When I switched to DevOps, I have joined a dev tech company where I have met Cyril. And back then we have been managing a multi-cloud infrastructure on both AWS and GCP. We're spending thousands of dollars a day on AWS alone. And as you know, AWS console is a nightmare, and it's still a nightmare. So it's very hard to find the relevant information without spending hours on opening different tabs and switching from a region to another. So it was very tough for us to find the relevant information and to know, for instance, how many EC2 instances we have on a specific region, how much money we're spending on a specific service, and how we can make the developers accountable when it comes to the cloud spend. And for those reasons, we built a project called Komiser. And the goal of the project initially was to have a single page application where we have like a dashboard where we can see all the services we use and how much those services cost us. So we made the project open source, and fast forward, it became cloud agnostic. Today, the project gives you transparency on your cloud usage and cloud costs, and allows you to build your own inventory of your resources, no matter where those resources are located at. Like it supports more than 9 cloud providers and even container solutions like Kubernetes. And the goal of the project is to make the cloud transparent again by making the developers like accountable when it comes to what they do on the cloud, when it comes to the security, the cost, and compliance. And that's the goal of the project. So today we have over 3,000 stars, more than 3 million downloads on the project, and we have a big family of contributors. We are already over 30 contributors across the 5 continents. And yeah, that's basically how the project started and where the project is moving forward. So it started like as an internal pain back then, but fast forward, we realized that we were not the only one that have this pain. Everyone has this pain when it comes to having cloud transparency. and now it's a bigger pain. It's not only companies that are having these issues, but also individual developers. So if you are a developer and you want just to get started and become a cloud practitioner, so it's very easy today to sign up for an AWS account or a GCP account, and you can get your free trial or some discounts or some credits. But it's very easy like to like use those credits if you don't know what you are doing on the cloud. And today it's very hard to know what you are doing in the cloud due to the complexity of those cloud providers and the user experience. So even for advanced DevOps engineers and even for AWS itself, like they have a lot of trouble like to understand the complexity of cloud providers. And this is what we want to do with Komiser, is to simplify the experience and empower developers so that they can build like infrastructure in the cloud without worrying about like where those resources are located at. So that's fast forward the story of Komiser.
Cool. And yeah, so shall we move on to the roadmap and what different tracks we see for the different stages of the contributor journey?
Yeah, for sure. Like because we want to like make the cloud transparent again, so there are many things to do, and those things cannot be done without being an open source. So that's why like we are an open source project, and we made Komiser open source, because like there are too many cloud providers, too many cloud services, just to like to focus on AWS alone. Like just AWS last year on the reInvent conference, they announced more than 100 new AWS services. So just to cover those services alone will be like a nightmare and will take us a lot of time. And we want like to like bring the community onto building the project, and because like there is a lot of innovation and creativity coming from open source, and this is what we want to do with Komiser. That's why like we have a public roadmap. So I want to share my screen for a second, and I'm going to walk you through what we are working on currently and how you can help us on like shaping the future of the cloud and future of Komiser. So there are many ways on how you can contribute to the project, like depending on like on your level of experience with open source. So if you are like a new contributor and you have never contributed to Komiser, so a good way to get started with the project is by tackling good first issues. So we have good first issues on different repositories, not only on the Komiser repository, which is like the Komiser project. So you can filter those issues on the by clicking on the good first issue label, and you will have like a bunch of good first issues that allows you to get started. You can also have like some inspiration of like previous implementation that you can like leverage like to tackle down those issues. You can also have issues regarding like other parts of the projects, like the documentation, which is also public. So there is a room for everyone to get started on the project if you are a new contributor. You can also like contribute to the project by adding the missing cloud services. So as I said earlier, there is a lot of cloud services, like just AWS. There's a lot of AWS services, and today it's very hard for us to like cover them all by ourselves. And for that, you can help us by covering the missing cloud services, either for AWS, GCP, or all the cloud providers that we support actually on Komiser. If you have already contributed to the project, you can move to the next step. And the next step is by ensuring that Komiser bring cost insights. So as you know, today with the project, you can build your inventory, so you can have all the resources that are running on your infrastructure, no matter like how complex this infrastructure, if it's multi-cloud, multi-region, or a single region infrastructure. So you can have all this information on one page. We can also give you cost insights at the resource level. So for instance, I can see like the resources that cost me more than $0. And as you know, if you have already used Komiser, we don't support yet the cost for all the type of services. This is a good opportunity where you can not only bring those cost insights to the missing services, but you can also understand and ramp up your skills when it comes to the cloud providers, because understanding the pricing model of those AWS services, those GCP services, those Microsoft Azure services will allow you to improve your knowledge when it comes to the cloud providers. So this is also a good opportunity to contribute to the project, but also improve your skills when it comes to the cloud computing landscape. You can also bring cost insights, not only for cloud services, but also for Kubernetes. So as you know, like Komiser supports Kubernetes as a provider. So not only you can get your resources that are running on your cloud providers, but you can also get resources that are running within the cloud provider. So for instance, if you are using Elastic Kubernetes service, you can integrate the Kubernetes API of that service to Komiser, and you can get all the resources that are running the pod, the services, the deployments, and other type of objects that are running in your cluster. And ideally, we want also to bring the cost for those resources. And this can be an opportunity where you can help us to cover that. And this can be done by integrating with OpenCost, which is like a well-known open source project that gives costs for Kubernetes resources. So this is as like a second way or a second step on your journey to become a Komiser maintainer, is to bring cost insights either for the cloud services or for the Kubernetes resources. The next step is to work on features from scratch. And this is where you can become an advanced contributor or even a maintainer for the project. So we have a bunch of features that we are working on currently. And one of those features is already done, which Ali is going to present in a few. So one of those features that you can help us building from scratch is the Webhook integration. So just to give you a quick overview about what this feature about before giving the mic to Ali so that she can showcase the wireframes of this upcoming feature. Is today on Komiser, you can create like your view, which is like basically a filtered list, as you can see, and you can set up your alerts. Currently, you can set up alerts on Slack. So basically, you can set up a cost alert or a resources alert. So basically, you can define a budget for this view. So for instance, if the money I'm spending on my Kubernetes resources is over than $100, I will receive a Slack notification. I can also set up a Slack notification to be notified if the number of my pods, for instance, are over a certain number. But we want to take this like further, because in reality, like Slack notifications are really useful, but what's is done after receiving the notifications is more important. So basically, when someone receives this kind of notifications, when it comes to the cost increase or the usage increase, usually they create, for instance, a PagerDuty ticket so that it can be tackled by the support team, or they will trigger some kind of automation like a Terraform template or something so that they can reduce the number of EC2 instances, for instance, or trigger some custom actions. And we want like to connect Komiser to those developer tools. And since there are too many tools out there, we want like to go with a generic solution. And the generic solution is the webhook integration. So basically, you want to allow users to set up an alert, and this alert will be sent to the endpoint of the webhook. So that way the user can trigger the proper action based on their like internal processes. So that's one of those features that you can bring from scratch to Komiser. We have also other features that I'm going to showcase in a few, but to give you a sneak peek of how this feature is going to look like when it comes to design, I'm gonna give back the mic to Ali so that she can showcase this feature from a design perspective.
Thank you for the amazing intro, Mohammed. So let me just share my screen. So firstly, I thought it would be nice to give you a little demo of what this webhook integration feature would look like inside Komiser. This is just a prototype, and it mainly follows a flow that I'll be demonstrating to you. And then we can go through a little bit of how the designs are organized so that you can tackle it from your side and implement it. So there are three ways that the user can access the alerts page, and this remains the same. So they can go through the shortcut of the alerts, as Mohammed has showcased, or they can go through the drop-down of the view. So either through editing the view or going straight up to setting up an alert. So we'll take the longer way just so it's a little bit easier to see like all the steps. So once they open the side panel, they can see that there's something new inside the alerts tab by clicking on it. Now the empty state has changed because before the user could only set up a Slack alert, so they'd need to set up that integration. But now because sorry, but now because we allow for users to set up a webhook, we've changed this screen, so we can add an alert. In this case, the Slack has not been set up, so we prompt the user to go through the guides to know how they can set it up. I'm just going to showcase how it currently works on Slack and the changes that we've made, so they can pick up the handler. In this case, let's go with Slack. This is the same, but we've made a few changes in terms of the UI to make it more recognizable if it's a cost or a resources type of alert. So the user can choose. We can go with resources. We can fill up the details, and we can set up the alert. But now we'll showcase how the webhook alert works. So again, creating an alert, picking a handler. In this case, we'll go with the webhook. And now, besides the type and the details, which we had on the Slack alerts already, we now have an output section where the user can write the endpoint and a secret to send on the request. So let's fill up the details, and something that we've added is a way for the user to test the endpoint. So this is a way for them to see if it's working correctly and if it's connecting before they set it up so it doesn't go wrong. So we can test it now, and as you can see, we cannot verify the endpoint URL. So this is something that is not working in terms of the connection. So they can change the endpoint or see what's happening on their side. So let's change it. We can test it again, or we can just move forward, but I'll test it again. As you can see, it's a valid endpoint, so we can move forward. They can test it multiple times because they might want to test on their side as well. So not only if it's valid, but if it's working. And then they can set it up. And another thing that we've added is a way to edit the alerts. So you can edit the Slack alert or the other one, the webhook one, and they can change the output. So this is all available. And we've also have a double check to make sure if they want to delete or not the alert, be it the Slack one or the webhook integration one. Thank you. I'll answer the messages after I finish the demo, but feel free to keep sending them. Yeah, in terms of the demo, this is pretty much it. In terms of the design, this is what we'll be sharing with you. So it's a Figma file. You can access it from the browser or from the Figma app on the computer. And I've added the general flow, which is what is prototyped. So you can like have access to the flow whenever you need for context. And then it has been broken down into different parts, like the different steps that the user can take. And I've also added some notes so that you can like get some more context or know how the behavior is supposed to work. Obviously, if something is missing, we're open to answering your questions and receiving feedback as well. And there's always things we can improve on a future iteration. So even if it's bigger feedback, it's always very welcome. And yeah, I hope this is thorough enough so that you can tackle the feature from your side, and we're here to support you. And yeah, thank you for for the compliment. I'm very happy to see that it has come across clear.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Ali. So yeah, that's one of the features that you can work on completely, starting from the design. So we are going to share the Figma link on the chat, and we are going to reshare it afterward. And feel free to work on that feature, and we can also like create a dedicated room to work on that feature, and you can collaborate with Ali along the way when it comes to the design, if something is missing, when it comes to the components or some screens. And yeah, that's an example of those features that are ready. I'm gonna also like showcase other features that are more advanced that you can also work on from scratch for Komiser. So let me share my screen again. So beside the webhook integration, we have other features that we are working on currently. One of those features is the onboarding wizard. So this feature is still work in progress from a design perspective, but the goal of this feature is to simplify how users can add or connect their cloud account. So as you might know today, if you want like to start using Komiser, you need like to create a configuration file. So you need to create this config.toml file, and within this file you need like to declare all the cloud accounts that you want to use or connect Komiser to. And this method works fine, but it has a lot of issues. And one of those issues is very complicated for new users to get it right from the first try, since the format or the syntax is a little bit specific. But also it's very hard to know if a cloud account was connected successfully to Komiser or not. Plus, when you connect a cloud account to Komiser, it's very hard for users to know in advance if they have given all the permissions or not. So we want like to simplify the experience of adding a cloud account, and that's where the onboarding wizard comes into the play. So again, this feature is still early in the process, but you can help us by making sure that the wireframes will like solve those problems. So I'm gonna show you like the sketches or the initial mockups of this feature. Again, this is like just the draft. It's not like the end result, but just to give you an idea about features that you can help us in building from scratch as a contributor. So the goal of this feature is to have a UI built within the dashboard where the users can add their cloud accounts. So basically here, they can select their cloud account and they can fill those informations that they have on the config.toml. So for instance, here I have selected an AWS account. So I need like to give a label or a name for that account. I need to choose where the credentials are coming from. And we can also have some sort of video or a documentation that can help the user to know where they can get those information from their AWS console. So this is also another example of GCP. And also we can also have a feedback when there is an issue. So if the user try to add a cloud account, like let's say on this example, it's an AWS account. And if there is any issue when it comes to the credentials, we can have a visual indicator to the user. So that saves a lot of time, and also make sure that every time users download Komiser and install Komiser, they will have a perfect experience and have a seamless integration with the cloud infrastructure. Similarly to connecting a database. So as you can know, Komiser store the data either on Postgres or on SQLite, and this is something also we can manage from the UI itself. So everything that the users can manage from the configuration file will be manageable from the UI, but with a better experience when it comes to the feedback, but also when it comes to the error management. So this is again another feature where you can help us bringing it to live into Komiser. Another features that are still in the exploration phase is the advanced filters. So as you know, today on Komiser, you can filter your data using those fields like the provider, the account, the service name, the resource name, the cost, and the tags, which works fine and allows you to uncover a lot of insights about your infrastructure. So you can know, for instance, if you have resources that are not tagged, or if you have resources that are expensive, or resources that are driving your cost. You can also know if you have resources on a regions where it shouldn't be running in. However, you cannot like uncover insights using advanced filters, and this is what we want to do with this feature, is to allow the users to filter the inventory using resources attribute. Like for instance, they can filter the data using like the disk size, or like filter the data using the instance image type. For instance, as a user, I can look for all my resources that are using Ubuntu as an image, either on GCP or AWS. So this is like how powerful the advanced filters will be, is to allow the users to query the data the way they want using those advanced filters that are coming from the resource and not from the global infrastructure. We have also other features where you can help us by building from scratch, is for instance the resources graph dependencies. So today in Komiser, like you cannot like know the relationship between your resources. You can see all your resources, like you can know that you have an EC2 instance and you have an elastic IP and you have a volume, but you cannot know like the relationship between those resources. You cannot know for sure if this volume is being used by this resource, by this EC2 instance, and if this elastic IP is being used by this specific EC2 instance. And this is like what we want to bring with the resources graph dependencies, is that like not only have a flat hierarchy when it comes to listing resources, but being able to see the relationship in a visual way between all those resources. And finally, you can also help us on making the dashboard more customizable. So today the dashboard is a little bit opinionated. So we have those widgets that gives you a lot of insights, but those widgets cannot be like changed when it comes to the data, when it comes like to the date, to the format. And this is what we want like to allow users to do, is to create their own dashboards based on their own data that they want to have an eye on. So that's an example of features that we have currently on the roadmap. Some of them are already ready for tech implementation, like the Wehbook integration. So this is a feature you can start with from now. Some of them are still on the early stage, but there is a room for everyone to either work on a feature from scratch, or like help us on brainstorming and exploring how we can implement this feature from a design and then from a tech perspective. And also, if you are not into contributing to the code base, and if you like content creation, you can also contribute to the project by being a Komiser ambassador. So you can become an Komiser ambassador by writing content on Komiser. So you can write tutorials, blog posts, or even threads on Twitter or LinkedIn posts about the project and how to use the project. You can also make videos. The videos can be like short videos or long videos, hands-on videos on the project. You can even speak at local events about the project, or you can even become a community moderator on our Discord. So there is a room for everyone like to contribute to the project, either by being a new contributor to the project, becoming an advanced contributors, or even a maintainer, or even a content creator. And along the way, there is a room for everyone like to be rewarded, either by sponsoring you on GitHub, or by sending you some cool goodies and swags from Komiser. So yeah, that's basically like different ways on how to contribute to the project.
Perfect. Yeah. Thanks a million. That's really clear. I'm definitely gonna open it up to you guys now, and if you have some questions, and to see how we can further the conversation. But one thing that I just wanted to talk about, which was an idea that we had about, okay, so we know that the potential features to be working on, but which would be the best way to organize ourselves, because it's one thing to kind of just work individually on a good first issue, and another thing is to kind of coordinate on something that's a little bit more complex. So one thing that we thought that could be a potential idea on ways to collaborate together, and we're open to see if you agree or not, is if any of you want to start on one of the initiatives, what we'll do is we'll open up inside the contributor section in Discord, we'll open up a specific channel for that feature. We can just call them like feature and then the name. And then that can become a working group. And then inside of that working group, all of the stakeholders, all of the people interested in collaborating can join. Ali, hopefully, and maybe the other designer, Johan, if he has availability for some features, he could join too, and it could be a good way of collaborating amongst ourselves, because and then at that point it's open to you if you want to do meetings amongst yourselves, or if you want to coordinate meetings and organize. Then I think that would be the best place to do it, instead of doing in the kind of like in the open kind of like feature request channel or the other channels. So open to hear your suggestions on that. And by the way, I saw that Shubham, you added an idea there. Yeah, that would be a really good idea. I think the best way to add those ideas would be to just directly just open up an issue, and we can talk about it there. So yeah, any questions or any things that come to mind about the features that we were talking about?
So not directly the features that were talked today, but one thing that I have been noticing is that we do not have a test suite right now. So I'm pretty sure merging PRs would be a challenge right now, that you would have to locally check out the branch and test it out. So maybe I was thinking we can have it like, since it is not there on the roadmap as well, but there is an issue which a couple of people have claimed in the past but hasn't done yet, is maybe we can right now focus on getting an end-to-end test suite as well. Something like Cypress also runs on the CI. So that would at least make sure that the dashboard is working. You can have your couple of components running. So that would really make it easy. And if something fails, the contributor can know it there itself without a first time maintainer, like telling them, hey, this is not working, you need to take a look at this. So I would like to know what do you all think about that?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. We had like an open issue for that in the past. We also have started recently adding tests to the front end part with Jest and a React component. Let me share my screen and I can show you the current stage of that feature. So we have added some tests for like the dashboard part, as I said. Like we have done that with with Jest. You can also have it on the README, like how to run the tests, as you can see here, and it's included also on the GitHub Actions, like on the pipeline itself. Like when someone writes a pull request, we run the test for the dashboard, but we don't have yet the tests on the backend. So that could be an opportunity where you guys can help us with. Like we already started in the past writing some tests. Like I can show you some examples. I think there is an example for auto scaling groups. Like we have some initial tests using like Testify as a library to write the tests. But I think that it's the only place where like we added tests to the backend. So maybe that could be a good way to improve the reliability of the pull request and make sure that the builds and the contribution review process is seamless by adding like more tests to the backend, as well to the dashboard. And speaking of the dashboard, this is something we didn't mention, but we have also like storybook. So we have a storybook for Komiser that you can run. You can also access the storybook from this link, storybook.komiser.io. So we have all the components of the dashboard, and you can test those components. And those components, we try to maintain them and also write tests for those components for the dashboard. So this is something you can like try also like to contribute to by adding more components and adding more tests to the dashboard, but also making sure that we have more tests to the backend, because currently on the CI/CD part, we don't like trigger tests on the backend part. So this could be a way to add tests, but also improve the CI/CD pipeline. So for sure, I think this is really a great idea that we can have part to those features that I have showcased.
Cool. And yeah, apart from that, I just had like a two-part question here. Like, what in general challenges do you have from a contributor perspective trying to contribute to Komiser, and what kind of suggestions would you have for us to do a little bit differently with what we've been doing up until now community-wise? So say, for example, the events that we've had, do you think are they at the right times? Have there been times that you haven't been able to join because there's been kind of conflicts with because maybe wherever you are in India or in Nigeria, maybe that's right in the middle of the workday or something like that. Are there things that we can change there and in general, community-wise?
I think from my end it's been pretty good, and I mentioned this to you as well. The issues are very atomic, which are a rare find right now in the open source space. So it's been pretty good. I think in terms of events, it's just that you sometimes miss Discord notifications. Like I do not have them on, so I miss a couple of events. But I think that can be fixed by the earlier suggestion that I said of using a Google Calendar or like a subscribable calendar on any platform. That might make it easier for one-time contributors as well. It was like, like they can just click the subscribe button, and any event after nx days they can take a look. So for me, there are no issues. It's pretty much amazing. Yep.
Perfect. No, and yeah, thanks a million for that suggestion. I started working on that yesterday to get a shareable calendar out that's compatible with different calendars. So yeah, so that will be out shortly. If anybody else has anything to share, please feel free. And yeah, do you know? Does anyone know if there's any feature that we talked about that you would like to jump on right away, or would you like to think about it a little bit more? Also, with the webhook integration feature, I think we can probably start getting a few, at least on our side, a few of those issues onto the repo, and then you can start taking them once they're a little bit more fleshed out, right?
I think from my end, I'm enthusiastic about the Wehbook integration part, but I want to first make sure that I first work on the Cypress or the CI testing, so that at a later stage it is much more beneficial for everybody and would save a lot of friction.
Perfect. So maybe this week we could work on, Mohammed, getting those test-related issues open and up on the repo, so we can start tagging you guys when they're available.
Yeah. So regarding that, would you prefer first working on the unit test for the backend, or would you prefer the end-to-end test using something like Cypress?
Yeah, personally, I would like start with unit test because it's really easy like to start with. End-to-end integration can be like the next step once we have like some good unit tests, since it's very hard like to maintain them from the beginning. Especially like the code bases are a little bit huge now, so maybe like the unit test could be a good way to start with, and maybe like we can also include it on how to contribute to the Komiser README, like that it's part of the process to write unit tests so that we can review the pull requests. So that could be a good way. Also, I'm jumping to the Avinash question about dependency graph feature. Yeah, I think we can like open like some kind of channel dedicated for that feature on Discord, and we can start exploring how we want to implement this feature. And yeah, guys, if you have any other ideas about how we can improve the project, also at the community level, like this is not something I have shared before, but like you can also like be part of other events that we host on the community. Like, as you know, we have the workshop, which we do on a monthly basis. We have already done 2 workshops so far. And we have another workshop coming this month. We will like share that in the upcoming days. And we have also the AMA Ask Me Anything session. So if you guys want like to present something on the workshop or be a guest for the AMA, just let us know and we can schedule that. And we have already like some amazing guests that are coming in the to this community in the upcoming weeks, which we are going to announce soon. So if you have any other suggestions on how we can improve the community or the collaboration, similarly like the way you contribute to the project, feel free if you have issues when it comes to having an AWS account or a GCP account so that you can test your pull requests or like test your feature. We can like find a way or how we can give you access to those kind of sandbox environments so that you can like contribute and move faster with your PRs. So yeah, as I said, we are still like in the beginning of the journey, so there's a lot of things to improve. Not everything is perfect yet, but I think we all have the motivation to make this a bigger project and a bigger community. So if you have any ideas, since you guys also contribute on different open source projects that you think that are working, that we can also adopt here, feel free and suggest it, and we will try to put it in place.
Cool, thanks. Just something that I'm thinking now is that I'll do today is I'm going to open up on Discord a full section, and I'm just going to call it the working groups section. And then if there's any feature that you're going to start working on or that you want to start exploring at least, just let me know in one of the channels, and I'll open up the channel so that we can start talking about that feature specific and just keep that feature specific conversation going there. Another thing that, just so we don't forget, this session, this contributor open hours, we'll do once a month, and it'll be the second Monday of each month. Today is a Tuesday, but it was just because there was a holiday in France. But from now on, it'll be the second Monday of each month. And we'll definitely see, like if we see that it's a little bit too much or not enough, then we can readjust, but that's what we'll do for now. And yeah, so yeah, Mohammed, I just seen that you're getting to Anu's question there, which was what I wanted to bring up. But apart from that, unless anyone has anything else to bring up.
Yeah, I think I would like to work on the onboarding wizard.
Perfect. Yeah, cool. So yeah, I think what we can do is, since the wireframes are ready to go there, I'm going to set up the working group section, and I'll already set up the testing channel, the onboarding wizard channel, and also the channel for Avinash, the dependency graph feature. So cool. Yeah, I think we have a few fronts open, and then at the same time we'll start working on our side on getting the issues open, so we can get some granular at least first steps for these issues. Great. Thanks a million, everyone.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, guys. And by the way, just before we go, like if you know anyone who wants to contribute to the front end projects, please spread the word about it, because we don't have enough contributors on the front end parts. So that would be cool if you know like a friend or a colleague who wanna get started on like open source. And we use like some really good technical stack. We use like React, Next.js. So it could be a good opportunity like for the person to contribute to the project. So, but beside that, it was really cool talking with you in person, or at least virtually. So looking forward for the next office hours. And as Jake said, we are going to kick off the discussion on Discord and create relevant channels for each feature. So looking forward for what we can do next.
And thanks again, Ali, for that demo. Cool,
Thank
everyone.
you. It was really cool.
Have fun.
Have a good rest of the day. Bye bye.